place with Fear the Walking Dead that it has its own identity where we can play around with some things. What I'm going to say, and this is all I'm going to say, is there are 2 Walking Dead shows. I'm not going to name them, but there are 2. But there's going to be one character that will go from one show that I will not name and go to and appear in the other show that I will not name. Now, what does that mean? Are we going to see an interesting backstory of a Walking Dead character on Fear the Walking Dead? Or are we going to see a Fear the Walking Dead character show up in The Walking Dead as a future version of the character? Or is it going to be something completely different? So I would like to think that he is going to stick with one character going to the opposite show. Also, in case you guys have not seen the Talking Dead episode that happened after the premiere, it has been said that it will definitely happen in 2018. So it's a sure thing, it's happening, and I'm very excited about it. What do you guys think?
Oh, I'm ready. I mean, this is something that I have wanted since the very beginning because so many people were I've watched it since day one, and I watched it because I wanted to understand what happened in the very beginning, and a lot of people, because they're so used to all the action and it going so fast, we're like, oh, it's so slow, it's boring, and I'm like, but you have to understand, we've got to see every little bit and piece that led up to that point. And I kept thinking, well, if they would just have a crossover, if they would just bring somebody from our show in, the fan base would then embrace it, because everybody's like, oh, I'm not watching it, it's stupid, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, but you've got to, give it time. And so obviously now it's gotten to the point where people are watching it and they're excited. And, this is something I've wanted for a long time.
Yeah, I agree. I always thought that Fear the Walking Dead was going to bring someone into The Walking Dead, and I'm so glad they finally said that they are. And that's going to lead to more people watching Fear the Walking Dead. So that's awesome.
I think for a long time, we've really thought of them as 2 different shows. And for the most part, they are in their own right, but it's one family. Just like we are here, we're a big Walking Dead family. The shows need to come together so that everybody really embraces both shows. And I think that that's a really awesome way to do it, is having a crossover. And I was speaking with Heather, and we were talking about what if some crazy chance that it's 2 people? Like, it's just something totally random, like we have one really awesome story come into play, and then we go to the kingdom and Tobias is there. Like, it's just a small thing, like, oh wow, like, is that Tobias from Fear the Walking Dead? Like, I think that would be really cool. So what is your favorite theory?
Well, when I first found out that they were going to do this, my first reaction was Abraham. And that being because in the final episode, Proctor John says they're going to Houston. Well, from what backstory we know about Abraham, he came from the Houston area. So for me, I got excited because, when he died, it was just devastating. And, he's one of these, he and Glenn both, I'm like, if there was a way to bring them back, and, this is a good opportunity. And I actually hope that they'll actually consider bringing other characters back so we can see more of their backstory. That's one of the things that I've always wondered, like, what was their life like before, So that's really what I think is going to happen. I think it's going to be Abraham. I think Michael Publix is going to come back, and we're going to be happy to see him,
Oh yeah. Oh,
That's what I want anyway. Anybody else agree with me?
We have a theory how.
How?
Oh, please tell us.
You want to say, you want me to?
Well,
Crazy Dog.
Crazy Dog, I have to,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
he was in the Army.
Mm-hmm.
Abraham was in the Army.
So, Army Buddy.
Yeah, that is true.
think about
I mean,
that.
see, and I didn't even put that together, but that is another possibility, that all the
They've had a couple clues about when Herschel was still alive, they were talking about going west, and said there's nothing. The people that was in the taverns at the time said, well, you don't want to go out there, but there's nothing. And then they were talking about going to Houston and making a safe zone in Houston. So Houston's not that far.
They really played up Crazy Dog's part at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what really got
I mean, there was just so much emphasis on them repeating where they're going, where
Yeah,
they're
it's
going.
all about Houston,
Yeah.
so, that seems to be, that's how I make the pieces, I put the pieces together. I'm hoping and praying that it's Abraham, because I would love to see Michael Cudlett's back on the show,
Is
so.
that a dog tag or?
Oh, yeah, here, come up here. You two. You can vote. Now that one is one of the special ones that actually has a piece of the fabric that was worn in the show. So
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Yeah, I can podcast Brain's Gone Bad.
Oh, awesome!
Awesome.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Okay, I'll definitely listen.
Yeah, well, I'll have to write that down. I'll never remember. Kelly, write it down.
On it. Okay, so what did you think?
Well, if you're familiar with the comics, there's this group that is coming up in the future called the Whispers.
Yes.
And this has always been my favorite theory. And since Kirkman said there's only going to be one, it kind of like, oh, who's it going to be? I think it's Madison who's going to go over to The Walking Dead as the leader of the Whispers, who is called Alpha. It would be cool if more characters from Fear the Walking Dead went over. Like, I thought Alicia would go with her and be her daughter, which in the comics is Lydia. But yeah, that's really my theory. I think it's something that would be really cool to have. It's like you're falling in love with these Fear the Walking Dead characters, and then they're going to become the villains in The Walking Dead. And I just, when they were wearing, they like to cover themselves in walker blood and all that, and walk, and that's what the Whispers do. So that's kind of what led me. So,
I know, it's almost like a fun pastime for
Yeah.
Nick. It's just covering
He does it
himself in
all the
blood
time.
and just going out and
That's why I
walking.
thought it was gonna be Nick. I think that
Yeah.
it's gonna be Nick who
Yeah.
somehow, even though he's not the leader of the Whisperers, somehow the things that he has learned,
and he becomes one.
he becomes
Yeah.
one of them and kind of teaches them how to survive in that way, but he doesn't like to be the leader, so he's not necessarily the alpha or beta, but he kind of crosses over and
Yeah.
aids the Whisperers, so to say.
Absolutely. Come here.
Have y'all
Let me
heard
give you.
the Madison and the Carol version that they're saying they're going to come together somehow? Because Carol was supposed to have been from Alabama, and when she was telling, Madison was telling her story about killing her father, she was in Alabama. And then when she was on 85, she was coming 85 to Atlanta. And I've heard a lot about them bringing Madison in, but also having another angle as far as being.
This is all.
See, that's something I
guys.
hadn't
It's
thought
so
of. And see, you picked up on pieces that, like I said, I don't remember details
Yeah.
like that. I remember, I can connect, Abraham Houston, that's about all I can remember. You remembering those specific details. And I mean, I had toyed with the idea that it might be Madison, because we did know she was from the South, and, Alabama and Georgia are very close, and then we had some other people, that said they were going to Alabama, so.
Yes, that plays into mine.
Yeah.
Now, I realize that this could be a stretch, but this is my absolute favorite theory, and it's that Morales will show up in Fear the Walking Dead. And if you guys remember, he left in the 5th episode of the 1st season called Wildfire. He's like, guys, we have family in Alabama. We need to go see if they're safe. And it's one of those loose ends that I can't stand, because we have this family and they're just gone. They're just absolutely gone. We don't know where they are, what happened to them. And obviously, them going to Alabama, what do you normally do? What did our characters do? They went to the Capitol. And where is Madison from? Madison is from the Capitol because her father was a senator, I believe.
City council.
Yeah.
City council.
So she knows that area good, and if she gets, backed into a corner, Houston goes bad, or if they don't end up in Houston, she might try and go back to something familiar to her past. So, I mean, maybe it's just me wanting to see Morales so bad, but I would really like to see him cross over so we actually get to see his future. Now, Kirkman says one character, which I would hate to think his whole family would perish, but it's a zombie apocalypse, so obviously anything can happen, that could happen. But I think that it would be really cool. Also, the actor that plays him, Juan Gabriel, he released, I want to say 1 to 2 years ago, like a poster, just like The Walking Dead does every single year. and it had Morales on the front, and it said "not dead" over the cover. And he was actually put on the IMDb for that season of Fear the Walking Dead, but it never happened. So, I mean, obviously anybody can edit the site, but I mean, just the combination of the poster that he released, the actor himself released on social media, I don't know, it just makes you think. And also the person, I don't want to butcher his first name, but his last name was Morales. The man at the dam who found Daniel and nursed him back to health, his last name was Morales. So I thought, oh, maybe, you know, but that dream is kind of shot down now, so yeah. So I did want to bring up another theory for you guys, because obviously we haven't heard a lot about certain characters on the show, and I would like to have some of you guys put your input here. Obviously, we can give you some dog tags or something. But what do you guys think of Rosita? Because we don't know a lot about Rosita's past.
I think it's a possibility. I mean, she came from that area too, so.
She came from the area, you know.
She kind of seems like in this the 7th season of The Walking Dead, she's kind of like withdrawn a lot. She wants to do everything herself because Abraham died. I feel like she feels like there's nobody left for her anymore.
Do any of y'all remember any of the specific things she said? I know that there's a lot of things she
wanted to
about. She
kill
didn't need
Negan.
anybody. She wanted to kill
Negan.
I mean,
All
so
that.
obviously she's got a lot of anger. What?
She actually said, this was the last episode, that she learned everything from her ex-boyfriend.
Right, and we don't know who her ex
Said
is.
about him.
Right. So we don't know who her ex is.
Right.
And I mean, Rosita, we don't know like anything about her past, so she could be from anywhere. Like they could meet her absolutely anywhere. Now we know obviously she ends up in Houston, so that's a major thing, and that is a singular character. She said she uses men and she moves on. She learns what she wants to do and she leaves. So I mean, why couldn't like one of those men be Nick or Crazy Dog or I mean?
Oh
anyone.
gosh, yeah. I've not even thought about that. You know, the fact that her boyfriend could have been one of those guys.
I mean, because they obviously know a lot. They're really handy. They've been out, holding their own for a long time, since before the apocalypse.
Does anybody know the time difference between like where they are now versus where The Walking
I
Dead
think it's
is?
like 6-7 months. Like,
It's-
well,
Well, it's got to be a couple years. 'Cause
well, I mean, a couple years, but I mean, like, from the beginning of the Fear the Walking Dead and the beginning of the
yeah,
Walking
so
Dead,
they started about 6 months
because
later.
Rick was in the coma for we're not exactly sure how long.
I was
I
gonna
think
say,
it was
I
a
don't
few
remember.
months,
Yeah, it was like
at least
I think it was 6
Yeah.
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
Okay, so I think
and
it's
so when we were
yeah.
sitting there watching, the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
when they're not even sure what's going on, they, in the first,
Because in the first season, when
Yeah.
Lori and Shane and Carl are on the highway, you see them like looking at Atlanta being destroyed. I'm thinking that's pretty close to the
To where
same
they
time when they
started.
started putting up that green zone in
Right.
LA. I think
Right.
that's about the same time.
And see, that's the thing. It's like, I sat there and just watched and held on to every word, because I was like, this is what's going on while Rick's in his coma.
Yeah.
That's why for me, I was immediately interested, because I was like, this is all what I wanted to know. I wanted to know how it started, because, when we start with Walking Dead, it's just Rick wakes up and, the world's gone to hell, and it's like, well, how? What happened? And, we see a lot of, these people don't know what's going on, and their neighbor all of a sudden is killing people, and there's bodies, and there's a dog, and there's a neighbor, and it's like,
And in a
And
world
they don't
where there's
know-
no zombies,
right,
Yeah.
and they
like
don't know
what's going
what
on.
it is,
They think it's a disease, and
And
they just can't explain it.
so you really understand, like, for example, Herschel, why he thought they were sick. They thought people were sick too. They thought they were going to get better, So if you really think back on it, it's like, okay, that was on the West Coast, and what we're seeing was more on East Coast, and if you can kind of correlate the two in your head, it'll make a lot more sense, because I've heard characters on Fear say the exact same things that they've said on The Walking Dead. Almost like word for word. And so obviously, they're both feeling it, at the exact same time,
And the characters on Fear the Walking Dead are growing so much. When we see The Walking Dead, when they start out, it's a couple seasons before we actually see up-close walker kills. And we're already getting that in Fear the Walking Dead, and we're seeing so many people grow. One thing that I recall from Talking Dead, the actor that plays Travis, he said that basically reading his first script when he hears about his, or he sees his neighbor, and his reaction to it, he's like, I'm dying. I'm not gonna last long, because, I mean, his first reaction is a compassionate, like, oh, like, he's like, what's happening? Like, what is going on? And, I mean, we all know where moral compasses go on the show. Me and Heather were also talking about the governor.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God. I would so love to see him come back.
I mean,
we don't know his, we don't know his history.
That would be crazy.
Wouldn't
to see
it?
the governor and Fear the Oh my
Yeah.
see,
See, I thought he lived in that.
Didn't the governor sell life insurance or something like that?
I can't remember. See, does anybody know his
See,
backstory? I don't remember.
the thing about him is that can you trust him saying his backstory?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, he was so twisted by the time we met him. I mean, who knows?
I mean, we're
Well, he had
hyping
his
all-
Awesome. Oh, my God. I love Dave Lancey.
I mean, we're hyping Team Family, like, oh yeah, like what if Abraham comes? What if it's the governor?
You know, maybe you can
What if it's
actually
Negan?
see how, the governor turned to be who he is, by the time we saw him. Oh, yeah. Oh, God, yes. So, I mean, I actually have a book that they did a little of his backstory in, and I'm like, I need more information,
So-
everything.
From the second season of The Walking Dead, remember when they would go to the bar, they were talking about they were from a bigger group.
Oh, yeah.
The two bikers or whatever.
Uh-huh.
I always thought maybe that's going somewhere because they just don't say a bigger group and then leave it.
You talking about the guy?
Yeah.
The one gets his leg impaled on.
Yes,
Yeah.
they're from the
And,
bigger group and then they like talk to Shane or
I can't
something.
even remember his name.
Randall.
Randall,
Right.
yeah.
Right. Yes.
And
so yeah, you don't know where
I think
they came
that
from.
could have turned into what Negan is now, maybe, and then he took control.
And I remember
They talked about Bryce.
Rick, and Darrell Foundation, said your world is supposed to get a whole lot bigger.
Right.
For years, I mean, I don't know how the time frame, but they just thought they were the only survivors left.
Oh yeah.
And then all of a sudden, your world's gonna get a whole lot bigger. Then they got saviors, they got the hilltop.
Well, and if you think about it, a lot of these people, they started out in one location and then they somehow migrated to another. So it's like, well, how did they make it to that place? And you finally see that they're all connected. There's so many people that it's like, okay,
The
it's
ones
like
at the beach.
a spider web.
The ones at the beach.
And I mean, one thing that we have to consider is we always think, what are the odds that, somebody is going to end up in Alexandria or in the kingdom? But when you think about it and you think about a place that is going to have order, Washington. The CDC, like these are big places. These aren't like, oh, let's go to Idaho. Like this seems like a good idea. This is like, oh, this is like really structured. This is what we need. Like maybe there's somebody with answers here. So one character that I mentioned earlier, Tobias, that I was just heartbroken when he left. He was such a sweet guy. He was like on top of everything. Like he was ready. He brought a knife to school. He was like, I can handle this. He was like the one person that seemed to have everything together and to be gone. And I like to think of him as like a younger Eugene. Like he knows things. Like he's a smarter kid. So why not him think, well, let's go to Washington, or like let's go to the CDC. Or
His character is not dead.
yes, Dave Erickson has said that the showrunner at the time, Tobias is not dead.
Exactly.
And also, I've read about the girl in the airplane, and I think her and Tobias that were together, or who was it? They were together. It was somebody else. I can't remember. But they said she's not dead. So we don't know where she is. So she could show up.
They showed her in a sewer.
It's so funny because, you get bits and pieces and it's like they leave you hanging and you're like, you never know. And I think they do that for that reason. So if you don't know where somebody disappeared and where they went, then 3 years later, hey, look, I'm back. you know, I mean, and they can do that, and that's what's really cool, so.
Yeah, Morgan.
Oh, God, I know. Oh, I was so happy to see him.
That was so frustrating in the first season when
I
Morgan just
know.
disappeared, and you're
I'm
like,
like, really?
come on.
I mean, you know, Rick's on the walkie-talkie, and
"Oh,
that's all you
finally."
hear, and it's like, what happened to him, you know?
He had like 3 episodes, and he already had like a bigger fan base than like Lori and
Yeah.
Andrea combined. Like he,
Oh,
like
he did
everyone
so many
just
other
loved
shows.
him. And I mean, a lot of people kind of exclude him from the original people, but how many originals would we have without Morgan?
Yeah.
He was
we
in the
wouldn't have
first
this.
episode.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, he and
Rick was stumbling
Yeah.
around like, what?
Yeah.
What is this?
He
And
was
Morgan
one
is
of
the
the very
person that
first
saved
characters,
him.
so, you know, I mean, it has to be.
Uh-huh.
He's a very important piece, and I'm really glad. I hope they're gonna keep him around for a while, because, you know, he's finally turned around and
He
he's ready to
seemed to-
kill again, you know?
I'd like to ask y'all something. Do you think that it might have rolled, like started in California, rolled across the virus across to the east side from the west to the east? And the reason I ask this is because fear started in the crack house. And you know, that's all tied with Breaking Bad. I'm sure a lot of y'all know Breaking Bad.
Well, I mean, we saw the blue.
Oh, yeah.
The blue
sky.
man. And so, you know, they're gonna probably tie that in at some part. So you think that's probably where it originated at, was in California and Mexico?
It could have been. I mean, you know, I don't know.
That was made in Arizona.
Have we ever heard who Patient Zero was? I mean, did they
Mm-hmm.
ever? And I mean, it's like,
I don't think that we will. Robert Kirkman has
Yeah,
said
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
that. Oh, no, you're fine. He, like, the whole timeline thing, we're never gonna figure out. I don't think we'll ever know who Patient Zero was. I think they wanna just kinda leave that up, because I think it was Robert Kirkman has said that they're not gonna reveal that.
I mean, you have to think, if we know what started it, we know what ended, and do we want it to end?
Right.
Yeah, there's certain things they have to just leave.
She has her hand raised in the back.
Oh,
I still firmly believe it's biased across the board because of the seed that Max had in high school.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say this, they just left him too old.
Oh, yeah.
His character is there. So I honestly believe it's going to be biased. He's going to be the crossover. That's my personal opinion.
He's gotta come back.
That whole scene is too
I
old.
think so. I think he has to come back somewhere.
Well, I'm 99.9.
what if my man Abraham shows up?
I'll take care of Abraham for you.
He's just right down there.
Why not both? Yeah. Let's just bring it both back.
Yeah, I like to get up and walk around. I can't sit still.
There was a shadow of what the star that was stuck in the CDC with the guy from the CDC. and
Dr. Jenner.
Wife was they killed, that's how they learned that they could kill him by shooting him.
They scanned her brain
Yeah.
during,
When she went.
she was turning all the guys, Jenner.
Yeah, his wife.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't in Fear, when they were at the hospital or their makeshift hospital, they were saying it starts in the brain. It was like there was a female doctor, I can't really remember all the details,
Yeah.
but she told
Yeah.
somebody.
Yeah.
It was the ex-wife.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And so she told them that it started in the brain. So, you know, however it was, they knew there on the West Coast too, that, you know. And what's interesting, and one of the things I liked about Fear, was we remember when Strand talks to the astronaut. Remember? And he's telling him, he's like, it's everywhere. You know, it's the entire world.
And they also
And-
said that in the CDC.
Yeah. I mean, so that was just like,
They're like all the, who was it?
Because they were like showing all of like all the different bases the CDC has,
Yep.
and he's trying to communicate with them on the video intercom system. Yeah, I thought that was.
yeah, it's just crazy. So does anybody have a different theory? Anybody have any other characters that they've thought about, or? It's like 6 o'clock, how long do we have?
We have like, we could have like up to 45 minutes.
Okay, I just want to make sure, because I know Mel sit here and talk
I
through
would like to know where Heath is.
it. You know, that's a good question.
His escape my life.
He's just disappeared on us, you know? I mean, what was it? He went, when was this?
Keith and Tara were on a run.
Right, and then that's when she came back, she had the sunglasses on, she didn't know everybody had died, is that what I'm?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and
And
Keith
we
had just
never
taken
know
a heartbeat.
what happened to him, so.
I read the, I didn't really read it, I saw like a little article or something about Heath joining the Whisperers, and I was like, whoa.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Crazy.
because the card had the symbol of a noise frequency for whisper. So people were saying that the card means that he was picked up by the whisperers.
What card?
When Tara,
found.
the card that Tara found.
Okay. I was like, missed that part. So does anybody else have any ideas, anything they can think of, or would you like to
Madison
see?
shows up with Heath and the whisperers, like what in the world?
Can I tell y'all about a Fear the Walking Dead and Walking Dead crossover that's taking place here at the convention?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, tomorrow at 4:15 on the convention stage, Sam Underwood is going to play Rick Grimes in a reading of the issue 115 from the comic book.
Wow.
We also have a couple of saviors from the series who play roles other than themselves. Jason Moyer Smith, who plays Gavin, and Joshua Michael, who plays Jared, the guy who shot Benjamin. So they're going to be in it playing different roles.
Wow.
And in this room, if I can plug one more thing.
Sure.
Go ahead.
In this room on tomorrow, Sunday at 2:30, Joshua Michael, Jared, he's a playwright, he's an award-winning playwright. He's written a play called Shelter, which is about 3 siblings in a bomb shelter.
Wow.
And they are going to do a dramatic reading here in this room, 2:30.
On Sunday? That'd
Yeah.
be really cool.
So I hope y'all can come.
Well, you know, at 6:45,
Yeah.
Robert Bernardo's doing We Are Negan, and he's actually going to have, I think, 5 guys who have played saviors in the show. So I don't know if that guy's going to be in it or not. I know there's 5 different ones, but that's it today at 6:45 in this room. So that should be interesting.
He's gonna show his shirt off.
What does it say?
He is utterly stone cold naked.
Oh, I love it. That's awesome.
So what about what's his name from the Saviors who was trying to help Alexandria and the guys fighting Negan?
Dwight.
Dwight. What about his wife? She disappears.
Oh, that's
Like
another one.
you know
We don't know what happened to her.
He brought the 6-pack of beer and then left it
Right.
with the pretzels,
Right.
and then she disappeared, and he lied and said, "Well, I killed her," and I didn't want to bring her back. I figured it would be kinder just to kill her, and lied to Negan
Yeah,
about
I remember because he knew that Negan would go after her.
it. Yeah. Because
I'm like,
she just started walking, and I don't know where she's gonna come back, but I feel like she's gonna come back somehow in the show.
I don't know where she could have gone.
Yeah, it
Like-
doesn't make it like you don't know anything about her.
You would think she would go to like one of the, like, I thought she was gonna go to Alexandria.
Yeah.
She never showed up to Alexandria.
She didn't show up anywhere.
else, so it's like, I don't know where she is, honestly. I have no clue where she could have gone. And, I have no idea, honestly.
I think that this has left me even more confused.
Yes.
Now I'm like, oh, there's even more possibilities.
There's like so many more characters that I didn't think of that everyone is bringing up.
I'm
now.
sticking with Abraham. That's who I want. I'm gonna go down there and tell Pudlitz I hope it's him, and I
It
love
better be
him,
you.
and he's so awesome. So
I know he's been posting some really
I know
vague
some
social
cryptic
media
messages. You know,
But
so.
didn't Curtin say it was not Publix?
Well, you know, I think
Well,
I
didn't
think
he
Curtin
also
lied
say
to
that
us.
T-Dog would have a huge part in the next
Yeah.
season, and then T-Dog died the next episode?
I think he lies to us just to lead us on.
Yeah.
Not gonna
So.
be a crossover at all. When Fear first
Yeah.
started, I mean. we're-
Oh yeah, watch it be like one thing.
Vince said he lies.
Oh yeah, no, I'm saying, you know, it could be anybody. Yeah, I think he does a lot of things to throw us off. So, you know, to kind of keep the suspense, you know, because there's a lot of people that do spoilers and things like that. So I think he specifically tells us no to things we really want because he's like, no, I want to keep you in suspense and not really, you know, let you know. So, and what was it? Scott Gimple said it's going to be sooner than later. So, you know, hopefully the first half of the year. That's what I'm thinking. You know, I'm hoping, you know, we won't have to wait so long to find out.
I mean, wouldn't it be wild if, we're watching that second half of the Walking Dead season and we see like a major Fear the Walking Dead character just like randomly show up?
Yeah.
Because we don't, obviously the season finale left us with a million questions. Who's alive? Like what's going on?
Yeah.
I mean, would it be cool to be Strand? Maybe.
Into somebody like that.
Yeah, we already see her like spiraling.
Yeah.
Like she's already going down, like she's going down a really dark path right now. So I definitely could see her being alpha.
Yes, because Nick thinks that his mother could kill him at any time, that was in that episode that Nick was like, well, you'll kill me the same way you did.
Her dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she didn't even say like he had to be killed. She said he had to be put down.
Yeah.
Like he's just a stray dog. Like he had to be put down. Like not he needed to die, he needed to go away, but
Put down.
Did y'all think about maybe Alicia being alpha with the
I
time
didn't think
jump?
about that.
Yeah, and all the references about wanting her to cut her hair and sell her hair.
oh, I didn't even.
I thought it was either going to be Madison or Alicia.
And I thought, okay, the only way that it would make sense is if they did a time jump, because obviously you can't, it can't be at the same time because we're so early on and, they're years down the road. But yeah, with a time jump, they can do
I thought,
anything
yeah.
on
It's
TV,
possible Alicia could be pregnant with Jake's child.
Oh, and see,
yeah,
that's
true.
one thing I
That
thought
was
of.
to Lydia.
Oh. Yeah, see, we're just coming up with all kind of theories now. It's like a big spider web, It's
All
exciting.
gonna happen. All of it.
Fans.
Well, one thing I know, it makes me happy to think that if it is Abraham, or if it is any of the other ones coming over to Fear, that's going to give us more shows. Because, we're looking at, 8 seasons we're into The Walking Dead. It's not going to continue forever. So, those actors are probably going to want to take a break, go do something else. So, what if it ends at season 10? Well, then we've got Fear that's still going to have years to go. So it's like, while this one may start to fizzle out, then we can, ramp this one up. So it's like, keep it. Well, and that's what I'm saying. He may not end The Walking Dead, as far as the entire franchise. He may continue to branch off. Because really, if you think about it, how many people's backstories do we not know?
True.
And I mean-
I don't think The Walking Dead, the original, is going anywhere anytime soon.
Let's hope not.
I mean,
I really
God, I
hope
know.
not.
I'm like,
I don't
please.
think it is.
I know, I'm like, Andy, please always want to be Rick Grimes.
I
Please
mean,
don't ever
I think we're
leave.
gonna lose a lot of main characters in The Walking Dead.
And see,
but I
that
think
is
it's
that
gonna
is just,
continue
oh
for
my
quite a
God,
while.
that is just, I
And Robert
can't.
Kirkman has said that
Nobody's
Rick is
safe.
eventually gonna die.
Yeah.
He's still alive in the comic books, but eventually he dies.
Well, and that's one of the things. Everybody wants to think they follow the comics, but they don't.
No.
They will
Yeah.
follow in
It's like you get to the same end point, but it's a completely different path.
Yeah.
Like most of the time, like you
Or
get
other
the general.
characters take other characters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a bunch of different.
Carol
and-
shouldn't even be alive right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
And I mean, like
That
they're.
one thing.
But Andrea
Yeah.
is alive in the comics.
Not
Is
anymore.
Andrea Michelle?
Not anymore. She died.
Well, yeah, I haven't looked at the
We're not
news,
caught
but
up
yeah,
on
we're
it.
not caught up on it. But for a long time, she was alive way beyond the Andrea in the show, and now Michonne has kind of taken on some of
Yeah.
her.
Like
comic
TV
book roles.
Andrea and comic Andrea are two completely different characters.
Yeah.
And I like to think that there's like, for the most part, what I've seen, whenever a character dies in the comics, if they don't take that death in the show, they have this period of extremely unsafe. Like they could die at any time. Like Abraham, obviously, he outlived the comic book counterpart. And I was like, oh yeah, it's cool. No, and then he wasn't. But
And they fear for their lives every episode after that.
yeah, and then you get to a safe point. Like Carol got to a point where I'm like, oh yeah, seasons later, she's safe. And then I fear for Morgan at the moment.
Yeah.
He's in that unsafe place.
Yeah, I
After
think
the
that's
first
all
episode,
right.
I feared for Carol and Morgan.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm worried for Morgan just for the simple fact I think that if Negan were to end up in jail, I feel like it would be Morgan on the deathbed saying, "Please, Rick, do this," and it might push Rick to do it.
Right.
I'm worried about Shiva.
Oh
I think your
God.
time's coming soon.
I think that's coming soon. I
think
don't want that
from
to
the
happen.
trailer, even.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the trailer.
There was like one
Yeah.
little
Next
split
episode.
second
Yeah,
in
like-
the trailer that made me think, oh, this is going to be where she
Has everyone seen that?
So-
that had me so worried.
I've seen the trailer, but I missed that.
It's a millisecond. It's a millisecond flash of her being like surrounded by walkers.
Yeah.
It has me worried.
I'm a little worried about that too.
You'll see me cry in my reaction on YouTube if that happens. If you guys want to see me cry.
So in the opening credits of the show, like of season 8, did anybody see the map was burning, going to Washington? Like you know the
there were
map?
some big changes in
Yeah.
There
They
was
just
some big changes.
like the map's burning, so they're not going to Washington anymore. You can see them not trying to go there anymore. That's what I got from it. I wasn't sure if anybody else thought that, but I was thinking that because I'm like, ooh.
I know. We were watching the season premiere at the premiere in LA, and so we feel like we missed probably so many little things because
Yeah.
we're watching in like a big venue. So we're both like, we gotta go home and like rewatch this.
And
get
what
all the
is
little
this
things.
upset Rick Grimes? We see
I
flashes of- He seems devastated, like premiere of season 7 devastated.
Yeah, I think that's the end of the season. When
Yeah, I don't know, somebody's died, obviously.
people are getting
Somebody important to him.
Yeah.
Like his eyes are like purple from
Yeah.
crying. It's
Yeah.
He's repeating the mercy, the prayer over and over. He's got to have mercy. He looks like he's on the brink of like
I don't wanna think about it.
massacring
Yeah.
tons of people. He's
Yeah,
so
or maybe
devastated.
he did
so.
something against his own, yeah.
I don't
No,
know.
it could have been Morgan.
Danger.
I don't know because Morgan's kind of losing it again.
Morgan's kind of redeemed himself and came back to like.
I don't think so because he sharpened his stick.
He did sharpen.
He
his
sharpened.
That's why he's got it back. Well, I think he's came back.
Yeah, but
Because before he didn't want to kill.
yeah,
And would
Let's see if I can remember.
And now he's kind of came back to like.
but in season 7 he kind of like had a little breakout, like a breakdown. Like he had a little mental freak out for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
back
back in
in
that
that
big
big
races,
Morgan.
and
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, we need to
we're
do
gonna
this.
do our little drawing. We have a bunch of random things to give away. I say random because I have a bunch of crap, that I'm like, oh, well, let me give these things away because I never do, never use them. This is our grand prize. This is my friend Aslan. She has a booth downstairs. It's booth 119. She came all the way from the UK. She's a very talented artist. She has T-shirts. She drew all these. The bag has. This is the Alexandrias. She actually has T-shirts down there. She's got one with with Atlanta 5. There's the Atlanta 5. I mean, she's really talented. And then she's got on this side, it's Negan and the Saviors. So there's a few things in this bag. This is going to be that one. And then I also have some of her drawings. I have a Carl and I have a Daryl. So this is her Carl and this is her Daryl. So I'm going to give those away. So yeah, you go ahead and we will see what the number is.
508941.
No, let's hear somebody else. Give it to somebody else.
Yeah.
Those are like, yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy.
508940.
Who is it? Who's the winner? Who's this? Gosh, you guys, come on.
We said don't give us tickets.
Well, I thought you would
We did the same
This
sequence.
is 508942.
That's us. We're keeping pulling tickets.
Okay, let me stop there.
Shuffle the bag.
508934.
Hot dang, we got a winner. Come on. I'm cool, I got my husband. You just don't know it yet. What? I know.
8939. 508939.
Maybe that person left.
Okay.
Here, no, I got one.
He hasn't even been called a right one yet.
508918. Come on up. Come on up.
You're getting the ones that are like.
I think we've already called.
You're welcome.
You
All
want
right. Somebody else. Now, you got a winner yet?
508937.
Okay, come on up. I got you a little bag with a little bunch of little surprises in here. There's some zombie mints, and if you've never heard of these, they're actually just butter mints. I bought these for a birthday party I was gonna have, and I never had it. So they say bite me and help me and zombie and beware.
Awesome. Thank
and
you.
so, yeah, it's a bunch of little fun stuff. Okay, so you wanna do this last one, and this will be for our grand prize.
Okay, so
Drum roll, please.
508921.
Yes! Awesome!
I would have given it.
Sure, you gotta give me a hug too, because that comes with it. Thank you. You're so welcome.
So much fun.
So you get her Rick.
Oh.
You get she did a coloring book. Okay, so these are things you can purchase down at her booth. And you're gonna get, oh God, she's got her buttons in here. These are my favorite things. I'm addicted to these buttons. These are buttons with all of her little drawings. So she's got, I mean, you guys have to go down there and check it out. She's got her card in there. And of course you get a t-shirt. And it has the Atlanta 5 on it. So,
Awesome.
yeah, so you guys definitely go down there and check her out. She came all the way from the UK, you know. And
Thank you
she's
so much.
awesome. So, well, I had fun. Did y'all have fun?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you guys for coming.
Fun. I like
And again, if you want to see us, you have your channel.
I have simple reactions on YouTube and do reaction videos to Fear the Walking Dead and The Walking Dead.
And then I'm Mama Deadhead. So we have both actually been on Skybound fan compilation reactions.
I'm
So you can find us
nobody,
there too.
but I go live on Facebook. Okay?
You have Sparkles here.
You know, I'm like,
He has
Sparkles.
more followers than me.
He does, he has his own fan club, so, you know, I'm busy with him, so. But yes, anybody that wants a picture with Sparkles, you're more than welcome to. He does give free selfies you can use. This sign that says I caught a unicorn, or Sparkles says follow your dreams.